if you're lactose intolerant, you can't watch this movie because it's got so much cheese.
Sorry, yeah, I gotta go. You guys can do this on your own now.
Nope, end it there. You agree 100%. I'm right.
Hello, fellas.
What up, Kevin?
Welcome back. My name's Kevin. I'm joined here with my pals James and Joe. Say
Lesser
hello, fellas.
pal Joe.
Lesser pal Joe. That's
Wow.
a season 1 joke.
That is. Just reminded me of it.
We are glad to be back talking about a brand new, actually to us when we filmed this, brand new Netflix film, The Harder They Fall. It's a 2021 American revisionist Western film directed by James Samuel. It stars Jonathan Majors, Idris Elba, Zazie Beetz, Regina King, Delroy Lindo, Lakeith Stanfield, and RJ Kyler. It's a Western. How else do you explain it? It's about two rival gangs, the Nat Love gang and the Rufus Buck gang. And it pretty much follows kind of a revenge story between the two.
I'm sorry. Did you forget to credit Danielle Deadweiler in your opening credits, or did you say her?
I did forget to credit Danielle Deadweiler.
She plays Cuffy.
You're right. Danielle
One of the best
Deadweiler
characters.
is also in the movie.
Nice.
Edie Gathegi, Dion Cole. There's a lot of good actors in this
There's
movie.
a lot of
This is a
good
star-studded cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first reactions, Joe.
Okay. So my first reactions was like, ooh, interesting artistic aesthetic choices that they were making. And about 3 minutes in, maybe I would say, maybe 4 minutes, I was like, oh, this isn't interesting. This is really obnoxious what they did. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why would they do this? I realized that my TV was messed up and the picture was just very like glossy. It almost looked like metallic. So
Your
some
TV's
scenes,
has an error.
anything
in it,
that was
and
like
you're
overly exposed looked like a metal gloss. So I was like, oh, like that's a weird kind of style choice, but I was like, let's see what they do with it. And then I realized that my TV was messed up, so I had to restart it, reset, like turn off my TV, unplug it, all that fun stuff.
That reminds me of the time we watched Sound of Metal, and I thought that half the movie was like in silent because my headphones died while I was watching.
Yeah. So that was my very first reaction, and then I realized I was like, okay, no, let's figure it out. I really liked it. It was a great intro, great setup, great story, great acting, great writing, all around entertaining, and it felt very much like a Tarantino movie with
Yeah, it did.
a couple little like nods to other big directors. Like I feel like there were some like Wes Anderson style shots in it and some cool creative choices that they did. So I really liked it. James, what was your thoughts?
So I had a really good time watching this movie. I thought it definitely struck like the Western like string. You know what I mean? Like it felt like a Western, but like I feel like the characters were very like cool, believable, and memorable. You know, maybe not believable, but like memorable. They did a very good job of like in a very short amount of time delivering each individual character and like with their specific like attitude or like like their like thing. Like there's like when I think back to one of the scenes where they introduce Jim and Pickett, and like they have a very different like in that scene, which I think might have been like they were like talking to each other for like a minute. Like I'm like, okay, I remembered exactly those characters for the rest of the movie, and I feel like a lot of times, especially with such like a large cast of named characters, movies are not good at that. Where like as soon as you kind of get outside of 5 or 6 real main characters, you lose like their names and like what they do and why they're important. Whereas this cast, I believe as I was traveling through the movie, like I was engaged and knew exactly who they were and how they tied in and who they were like, in like collective, like, gangs with and like who they didn't like and why they didn't like certain people. The entire time. So like an incredibly memorable characters. And like, I think that like, that's a very good proponent of good acting and good writing. So I thought it was a really great movie. I liked it a lot. I like this. I like Western as well. Like I actually, after watching this movie, it makes me want to go watch more Westerns because I'm not as like well versed in that movie genre. But I also love Jonathan Majors. After Loki, I was obsessed. I was like, this guy, I cannot wait to see him. You know what I mean? In other stuff.
You should watch. As a side note, if you love Jonathan Majors, you should watch Lovecraft Country on HBO Max with him.
I have to watch it. Is it a show?
It's a show. It's a show.
All right, I'll have to watch it. But yeah, overall, really, really liked it. I'm excited to kind of get into like the nitty gritty of like all the scenes and stuff like that. But overall, amazing, very good acting, very good writing, and I thought like it was very visually like shot very well. So, Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the few movies that we all agree that we generally liked this movie. I enjoyed the movie. I agree with everything you said, James. You know, they did a great job writing the characters and making you like invested in the characters. I think the use of the opening credits, which like movies don't really do anymore, like the long opening credit scenes, they did in a way that like they're showing you each character's name and then they show you the gang that character's in, and then they show you each character's name and the gang that they're in. So they did a good job with that. You got to give props to the director. This is his feature film debut.
Really?
This is his first feature film. He's a musician. And he did some short films, but this is his first feature film. I thought he did a great job.
Can you say feature film one more time?
Did I say feature film like 3 times there?
3 or 4.
So anyway, his first feature film. And I thought all the acting was great. I love all the actors in the movie. And they all did a great job. So yeah, I liked it. All in all, it was worth my time. A little slow. It starts a little slow. I'm not like a huge Western like guy. And it starts a little slow. I guess that's probably just like a Western thing, maybe. I don't really watch a lot of Westerns, but
like Star Wars.
I do like Star Wars. That's like a space Western, I guess. But it did make me want to go play Red Dead Redemption 2 again, so I did re-download Red Dead Redemption 2. It's so fun. So, but other than that, did you guys have anything else non-spoilery to talk about?
This is the second movie we've watched now where Idris Elba plays a cowboy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
It is. I thought about that while we were watching it. That is hilarious.
He is going to start typecasting himself if he does another one.
Yeah.
But that's it.
I think honestly, of the I love Idris Elba of acting performances. He's not the one that sold me on this movie, you know? Like I don't think I thought he was a cool, like ominous, like bad guy, but he did like I think I lost a little bit of his motivation, but we can get more into that in the spoilers. Like some of the way through. Like the development of that character was a little strange, especially towards the end.
I get what you mean. I think he wasn't, for like the villain or bad guy antagonist, he wasn't as prominent.
Yeah.
As it felt like the antagonist was kind of divided up into pieces. That was just his whole gang. So I get what you mean, that it felt a little, he wasn't the one you were most excited about, but
yeah, like I was much more like, I honestly think as like a character, like what's it called, Trudy Smith, like Regina King's character was much more like intimidating and like strong and like, you know what I mean, like I don't know, like that's just my take though. So
yeah, well, I have thoughts about that too, but I'll wait for the spoiler section.
All right.
Yeah.
Should we give our first decisions?
Oh yes, I keep forgetting our new format.
New format.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Let's give
been like
our press
11
play
weeks.
or keep scrolling. We'll start with James this time. James, are you going to press play or are you going to scroll? I think I can guess everybody's answer.
Yeah, for this one, I'm definitely going to click play. This was a really, really good movie. It was a ton of fun to watch, and I would highly recommend it to other people. So click play for me. Joey.
I just don't want Kevin to be right. So I'm gonna say
No
Just
way.
kidding.
No way.
I'm not that petty. I am an honest journalist. I'm gonna press play.
Yeah, no surprises here. I am also pressing play. I thought it was a good movie, not a waste of time. So I would not advise you to keep scrolling. So press play.
Cool.
Or rest play.
So stick around if you've seen the movie already and you want to hear the rest of our in-depth review. If you don't care about spoilers and you're not going to watch the movie, stick around anyway. And then if you want to watch the movie, go watch it and then come back. So we're going to take a word from our sponsors and we will be right back. And we're back. Hello. We're just going to start singing, James?
No.
You can
Make
sing.
sure we have.
I'm sure
we don't have the rights
audience
to
will
any
love it.
songs.
I can promise you there's enough singing over the break that if we want to make a clip of me singing, there's content.
That is true. And Joe, to your copyright thing, I think like we can consider it parody.
It would definitely fall under parody law.
Oh, I
James
can
is
tell
singing.
you that I don't know any of the words.
Right? What's the copyright law? Like it needs to be like 30% changed or something. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
something like that.
James has changed every single word. So
30%.
and he can't carry a tune. So no.
Rude.
I'm kidding.
Rude.
I'm kidding. I know you were in the plays in high school.
Yeah.
A star actor.
I wasn't a good actor,
Stop.
but I was one of the only guys that could lift a girl above my head, so they made me a lead dancer.
Well-
add that to your bio. Oh no, I'm writing Kevin's bio.
Yeah, Kevin's got to write
Shit.
mine.
Oh yeah, I do have to write yours. I haven't. even
Speaking
thought
of
about
which, something's coming soon. We'll keep it under wraps for now, but there's something coming. Check out our Instagram to find out what it's going to be. Flicks_fellas. Also, just a quick plug before we get into spoilers. Make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, Flicks Fellas. We love to see you there. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to see.
This
Kevin, go ahead.
this surprise could already exist by the time this episode comes out. In
Maybe.
which case,
It kind of does. But
yeah. Anyway, anywhoozy, I'll hit it with one of those.
another Hoosie.
Let's get into the nits and grits, the nuts and bolts of this movie.
That's a callback to a clip.
Yeah, it is a callback to a clip.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you guys think? I mean, like, did you have any nitpicks?
I had a
there any?
couple.
I had a couple.
But
Can I let me give you before we get into the nitpicks. Did you all notice or read about the tribute to Chadwick Boseman in the movie?
No.
no, I didn't see
No.
that.
Tell us.
The train that they rob
Yes.
as it comes
That
up
Idris
behind
Elba's-
her. Yes, it says C.A. Boseman,
Wow.
which is his initials. Like C.A. is his initials, and
Mhm.
then it said Boseman on the train.
Interesting.
Wow.
Did not catch
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I'm glad
Um,
that they did a tribute to him.
Yes. Me too.
So back to some gripes and
Nitpicks.
questionable nitpicks, just to cause a little. We gotta talk
We can't just be like the
Something
movie's good
here.
and then end the podcast. Yeah.
exactly. The opening scene again. I was watching it with some Technicolor filters on, but the one thing I noticed was when the two guys get to their house. Very opening scene. Two guys get to his house. The guy's scared right away. He's looking around. What can he do? He looks at the rifle that's like hung up 7-8 feet in the air, like on the roof almost, on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And he acts as if he's going to be able to like get that and use that to defend himself.
Yeah, no shot.
I was like, you have two men here, both equipped with multiple guns in their
Yeah.
hand, and you think that it's even like plausible to try to reach for that? Like, it just felt. I was like, they made it seem like he was going to reach for it, and I'm like, why not just have like a gun on the table or something on the
Yeah.
side or on the wall? But this is like 10 feet in the air. He's a shorter guy, can't just grab it and get a shot off. That was
Yeah,
my
in
first.
addition, you think it had to be
nitpick.
loaded. You know what I mean? Because the guns they
Yeah.
have are loaded. You know.
Mhm.
So I definitely thought that there was an element of like that's probably just for like displaying the scene and like the loss of power of like the father character in that scene. but
Yeah.
like I was confused.
That scene was
on
brutal,
why.
by the way.
That's who. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
that was a brutal intro to
Yeah.
a movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
And
reminded
that's,
me of
like-
Inglourious Bastards,
Yeah, very
Yeah,
Tarantino.
which is
Yeah.
the first
Yeah,
like
very
Tarantino
Yep.
yeah.
style.
But I was very confused in the movie because I feel like that scene is the most evil thing you see Idris's Idra El. I can speak
This
words.
is an easy one, and you can't even
Idris
get it.
Elba's character. It's because his first name ends with an S, the second name ends with an A, and I'm really tired and stupid. Probably probably
More the
last
latter.
Yeah.
But Idris Elba's character, Rufus Buck, he that is the most evil thing you see his character do in the movie by far. You know,
Yeah.
and then after that, you don't really see his character do anything that bad. You know,
We can talk about
That's-
it later, but couldn't that? I feel like you could probably explain your way out of that one.
the point is if you're watching this, you should have seen the movie. But essentially, there's Idris Elba and Nat Love, the main character of the movie, right? So Rufus Buck, Nat Love, they are secretly. This is the twist of the movie. They are secretly brothers, right, or stepbrothers,
Half brothers.
half brothers. Yeah. Yes. And they have the same father, and Rufus Buck, his father, was very abusive and a horrible person, and then he left him and his mother, and had a new family with Nat Love and Nat Love's mother. You know what I mean? Like Nat Love's mother, and then had Nat Love. And in the beginning of the movie, they come in and he kills Nat Love's parents and puts a cross in his head with a knife, you know? And then later in the movie, you don't really see Idris Elba do anything that evil the rest of the movie. And what Kevin is saying is basically the progression of character. Just as his father became a more kind person, so did he. But I would argue that they didn't really show that. You know what I mean?
You're right.
I don't think that was the motive at all. I think it was that in the beginning he was kind of acting solo, and now he has a gang, and that's
no,
where
he had
I
a
was
gang in the
getting at.
beginning too.
He did, but I feel like he had a very clear motive of he wanted to get revenge on his father for leaving him
Mhm.
and starting a family that he actually loved and respected.
Yeah.
And I think that what I was saying before in the first part of this podcast was that the antagonist was kind of divvied up amongst all three of the main gang. You had Regina King's
Cherokee
character,
Bill,
you
Trudy
had
Smith.
Cherokee Bill,
Yeah.
and you had him. He was the leader, he was the motivation behind everybody doing these bad things. He was the one who basically told them that we have to figure out how to get $50,000, even if that means we have to kill every person in this town and steal all their money. That was him as the leader, and now he has his kind of lackeys almost doing the dirty work for him.
Yeah.
So I think he kind of elevated in his status over that course of 20 years, and his gang respected him more.
Yeah, so he's not an evil guy anymore. He manages evil people.
I think he's just it's like a mob boss. The reason you can't convict a mob boss is because they have people who do their dirty work for them.
Yeah, but the
They're
mob
never
boss
actually-
still has to be the most dangerous and the scariest guy. You know what I mean?
I think he is. I don't think they show him doing anything dangerous, but I think that's because, one, he's captive while they're hijacking the train because they're trying to save him, and then they don't actually their goal isn't to kill people. Their goal is to get $50,000 to. Honestly, I forget what the $50,000 was.
They're trying
to to buy the town, buy out the investors of the town.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he has almost good motivations in the sense that he just wants to keep his town the same
run this
and
town.
And it was
Yeah,
it
he wants to run the
50,000
town.
or 500,000?
50.
No, it was definitely not 500,000. Yeah,
was 50.
especially for that time period, it's probably
Because they only-
No, because here's the issue. Here's my biggest fucking gripe in the movie. The inflation seemed way off.
No, I think it seemed legit.
Literally in the very beginning, he is offered. He kills the priest,
Mhm.
and then he says, "Take the body in." They're offering 5,000
Yes.
for the
For him.
reward. Do you
Mhm.
know what that equates to today?
How much?
$164,000 for a
I
That
bounty.
makes
that-
sense.
Well,
No,
there's
it doesn't.
bounty-
I mean, he
For,
killed
there's
that
no
people.
bounties anymore. There's no more like bounties.
It's,
Like we
yes,
have a
there are.
police
yes,
force.
there are. There's literally
there are.
bounty hunter is a job title today.
Yeah,
Dog
but-
is a bounty hunter.
Yeah, but it's not like back then where there was like no, like they had one marshal per town that was obviously not going to catch every criminal. Like
Yeah.
it was more like
Right,
That
but
was
they
the
weren't.
economy,
They
was
weren't
bounty
giving up
hunting.
the equivalent of a fucking house for. There's no way.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think Kevin, like maybe Rufus Buck is worth that. You know what I mean? Like somebody that's like, stolen that
No
much or
way!
like killed that many people. Yeah, dude, I
I
think,
think
so.
so.
It depends. It depends on how detrimental they are to society. Like
they're
like
comparing
Rufus,
him to the devil. They're saying like this man is
I
the
don't
devil.
know
He
if
is
this-
the scariest man in
Yeah,
the world.
I don't know
like
if the Scorpion guy is worth $5,000. And then Nat Buck like comes back, or Nat Love comes back, and he's like, I'm worth 10. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
I could have sworn they also said 500,000.
no way.
no,
I think
no,
they
because
did.
they only stole 25,000, and they said, and for the interest, another 10,000 on top of that. And
Yeah.
the reason he said that is because when he did that like town meeting, where they came out of Trudy's bar and was like, "You guys need to pay a tax for us to save this town," the one guy was like, "The most you can get out of all of us combined is 15,000." So he needed to come
Yeah.
up with that other 35,000, which is why he said, "You stole 25,000 from me. You need to pay that back, and you also need to pay $10,000 interest."
Yeah.
Regardless,
And like that's the whole thing.
That
That's
one-
the
that
whole
one
thing.
kinda makes
Regardless,
sense.
even in that scenario, like Idris Elba is just trying to buy his town, so like he and like the people in the town have control of the town. Like that's not an evil plot. You know what I mean?
but it's not for like the right reasons. Like they're not going to be good mayors and
I
leaders
guess,
that are
but,
going to
like,
provide
what I'm saying is,
prosperity
like,
to the people.
that's not. But that's not. He's like Robin Hood-ish. You know what I mean? Like he's doing bad things for the right reasons. You know?
I disagree. No, Nat Love is directly compared to Robin Hood because Rufus Buck's gang, the Crimson Hoods, or is that what they're called?
Yeah.
The Crimson Hoods?
Yeah, they're called the.
They're
Crimson Hoods.
robbing banks. Like they're
Yeah.
out robbing banks from other
No,
towns.
100%.
And
Like, but that's what Robin Hood does.
For their
Robin
own
Hood goes
personal
and
gain.
robs from the rich and
no,
gives like
Nat,
to people
but
that need
Nat
it.
Love is robbing from that. Nat
The
Love is
bank
more of a
robbers.
vigilante. He's
Yeah,
I
robbing
feel
from the
like
bank
I feel like
robbers.
all like a lot of outlaws in any media are portrayed as like Robin Hood-esque, that they steal from the rich and give to the poor. So
Yeah.
I think you're both right. I think both of them have that trait, and I think
But
that happens
Robin
a
Hood
lot in,
also
like,
didn't
Western
just
movies.
shoot a bunch of people and let everyone die. Like
Yeah.
Rufus
Like
Buck
he's
was
definitely.
his gang was killing people. They killed people on the train. They killed all those
Yeah,
guards.
yeah,
Yes,
It's
that's
insane.
true.
Just
That's
to,
true.
like,
They're a little
but
more.
they
they're
sadistic.
bad
also-
guys.
But they also killed those people because they know they would remember that they like intimidated like the Army Corps or whatever, like the team of Army people, because
Mhm.
like they know that like group of Army people. Well, no, because they didn't like take train to murder people. They didn't want to murder anybody, and they got they got a warrant, not a warrant. They got like forgiveness essentially from the government
pardon.
because a pardon because
Yeah,
they
and
were
then
going
they
to go
still
kill this
murdered
Army
all the
troop.
guards.
Yeah, but they should have
Oh,
because
right, right.
the guards killed an entire town for silver. You
Yeah,
know?
so they're all corrupt. The government
The
was willing
guards
to
are.
kill their own.
No, the guards are.
They were too, though. The government, everybody.
Yeah,
they
but what I'm
still were
saying
willing
is
to
like
kill
It's the
people.
Wild West, dude. Everybody's.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
like-
Wild West. What I'm saying is like they paint like everyone is painted and like and maybe that's like another like maybe this is a good thing for the movie. There's a disparity between the way the characters talk about Rufus Buck and the way the movie portrays Rufus Buck and his actions, right? Because a lot of his actions in the movie, other than the murder of like Nat Love and his or the murder of Nat Love's parents, like is a shade of like gray. It's not right or like, you know what I mean? It's not right or wrong. You know what I mean? It's like it's right. It's like wrong, but for the right reasons, or right, but for the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying?
I think you're defending him too much and giving him too much credit. I think he's a bad guy who has bad intentions and motives. I think you're empathizing with him because what we
But
know about him
everything's
at the
deeper.
end.
He's not just a bad guy though. Like there's like he's doing it for a reason. Like he's doing everything for a reason, and he does legitimately think he's going to help people. He's not just doing it because he's selfish. You know what I mean?
I didn't get that. I don't think he. I didn't get
I
a
did.
vibe that he cared about helping people. I think he wanted to protect this town for himself.
I do too.
Like, I think he just
Alright.
wanted control over the town.
Fuck you, James.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's move on. Different topic. I've been outvoted. I disagree, but whatever.
I feel like you can't disagree with that though.
I do. I do vehemently, and I've explained myself multiple times.
This isn't a matter of opinion, James. This is a matter of fact.
I get what you
but-
mean, that Trudy is the actual mean, heartless,
Yeah.
ruthless
Oh, I hated her.
villain.
She'll do
Oh, I kinda
whatever
love-
it takes.
No,
I
she was
also
great.
loved her.
She was great,
Yeah.
but I hated her because
Oh,
we're
yeah, yeah,
supposed to
okay.
hate her. Like,
I
Yeah,
hated
yeah.
Cherokee Bill. I didn't hate her. I hated Cherokee Bill
Cherokee
because
Bill
he
was an ass.
because he was a dick. Like, he was like, I'm like the quickest gun in the West. And then he cheated every time, except for when he fought Cuffy. And Cuffy is like, the other guy was faster.
I guess back then it was like you could cheat and like who would know because the other person's dead.
Yeah, it was just
True.
like, it
Like,
doesn't
and then you
matter.
just tell people you're the quickest.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
also, like, what? That was another gripe of mine. I'm like, you were going up against a guy who is a ruthless murderer, has no like morals. He claims he doesn't like to cause violence, but he has clearly killed people.
Yeah.
Why are you not like watching him at all times? He's like
Right.
playing with his gun. I get it. Like,
Yeah,
it was a
but,
full
like,
circle kind of like. He said your tricks are going to get you killed. Like,
yeah, because he was too confident. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Is like he has this hubris that's gonna get him killed.
Yeah.
And like that's the whole thing too. And I think like of the movie, right? So like we've been like disagreeing on certain things. Like I do think the characters were written very well and they were very believable and memorable. Like we said at the beginning of the podcast. Like all of the characters. Like when we say we like don't like Cherokee Bill, it's like because he was a well written bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, we would make the distinction like we don't like the way that
Yeah.
character was written.
exactly.
But, like
exactly.
we
I'm just trying to
hated
make
the
actual-
character. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Also, like another gripe, like Cherokee Bill like dodges a bullet at one point,
Yeah.
and
He
I
does.
was like, "That's so stupid."
Mhm.
like,
I like that Pickett is just like a
wouldn't
sniper.
happen.
Yeah, he was
Right.
just like, bang. And he's like
Right.
headshot, and then Cherokee Bill's like, whoa, like
He's
the
like, "Whoa."
Matrix.
Yeah.
He's like, "Nope."
Yeah.
He's like, "You fucking thought."
He's like, I know my script lines.
yeah. Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
Could I bring up something that I noticed?
No,
yes.
Okay.
the White
So it was a
Town,
huge
like
credit to
everything
them.
was
Oh, that
white.
was awesome.
Like
Oh,
all the
I loved it.
everything
Yeah.
was
It was
white.
disgusting. I loved it.
I like,
I was cracking
for a
up. I was like,
second-
"This is hilarious."
yeah. I like realized that right away, and then I was like, wait a minute, is that how? I was like, no, that's definitely just like a.
No, it's a play on words. It's like
play,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be like a
But that's a great segue into my next gripe, because just a huge pro for the movie now, a gripe that I felt like the sets were almost too cliche. It
Yeah,
felt
like
like I was looking at like a
cliche
Hollywood set, not like because I don't know. I didn't see like I don't know what it actually was like back then. Again, none of us are really Western.
I'm pretty sure that the towns were like that. Like the towns
Yeah,
were
me
basically
too.
like one road.
they
and
probably
there was,
were.
like there's like
In the middle of
15
the desert,
buildings.
yeah,
there's like
and
15
you can
buildings.
go
Yeah.
places that like I'm pretty sure like places out towards there like San Antonio and stuff like has towns like that out there that
Mhm.
like are just still there from way back then, and they look like I think that's how they really look because it was
Yeah.
literally, I mean think about it, back then in the desert it was nothing and then a town and then
And then
nothing
town,
and a
you put all the
town.
resources you need. Yeah. Which
And
like,
anything
I
I've
get.
ever seen, that's what it looks like. So I'm assuming that it's somewhat true, but I could be wrong.
Did you guys watch Westworld on HBO?
Yeah, that's how it looked.
Show.
Yeah.
I feel like Westworld did it better. Like they.
Oh,
made it
there's
seem
definitely more
like,
to it.
lively,
Yes.
more like depth, more dimension, more like everything. Whereas this kind of felt like for example, that final like battle scene. It felt so cliche. It was like a guy just like walking down the street, like pew 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 pew.
Yeah,
kind
the
of,
towns
like,
were
vibe.
empty. There was no
yeah,
life
there was
to
no
the
like
towns.
life
You're
to
right.
it,
I-
which I was
yeah.
like that was missing.
Yes.
Well, it's,
yes.
it's,
That's what I
supposed,
felt.
it's not supposed to be realistic. It's supposed to be like a set piece for a Western. You know?
Well, yeah, you still need the town to feel alive. Like you still need some
Because like the bars always felt full and like had
Yeah,
character
yeah.
Like,
and
but you
history
don't
to
want
them.
civilians getting in the way of like the cool fighting that's happening. Like that's not the point of the scene. The point of
No.
the scene is to display. Like
there should be some acknowledgement, but even when they weren't
No,
fighting,
there
no
actually
one
was
there, really.
acknowledgement because they blew up the car. The one when they first come into town, they blew up that
the cart. Yeah.
the cart that they thought had all the money in it. And Kev, stop.
Oh, can
Like
you
I'm
hear
not-
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just fidgeting down here.
Yeah.
Stop touching that.
So they make a comment by they blew up the cart thing, and then all the people that were left were just the gang members. And they said,
you're right,
now that
you're
we're
right.
finally alone, let's do this. Like, let's fight type of thing.
Mhm. So that's
But-
like okay, everyone's scattered.
Yeah, but I didn't like really see a lot of people there before that anyway. So
That's what I'm saying. Like, it
Yeah.
didn't feel like, oh, now anything changed.
yeah,
It
I
wasn't like
agree.
a full town kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was like
That
you
was
might
just
have seen,
another
like,
gripe.
15
It's just-
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. What are some? So we've talked about a lot of gripes. What are some like proponents of the movie that you thought were like that like makes this a click play over a keep scrolling?
It's just like the story was simple, just like a simple revenge story. Like it wasn't trying to get too confusing or play into too many things. But it was enjoyable. Like it was well written. The characters were really great, and I think that's like a big thing for me and a lot of people is like, are the characters written well?
Mm-hmm.
Are we invested in the characters? And I think we were. So I think the story was there, the acting and the characters were there. The fight sequences were okay. Like I wouldn't say they were anything like
I loved the
spectacular.
Trudy and Mary.
Yeah.
I thought that one
Yeah,
was
that was
good.
really cool.
Yeah, that was really good. But
Everything
just all
else
in
I
all,
thought
it
of
was
Sanders
just
was
like
kind of numb.
a fun movie, like a fun watch, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
So for me, I really liked the fact that like it wasn't easy for Nat Love and his crew. They
Yeah.
had very thought out plans. They had very like big moments where you're like, oh, this is going to work. This is going to feel like they're gonna pull one over. Like Mary's gonna come into this town as this celebrity singer, and she's gonna buy the bar, or they're gonna believe her for a minute, and then a twist is gonna come. But like, really, like they never, like their plan
Yeah.
backfired from the very beginning, and like
Mhm.
Nat Love was right. Like he knew it wasn't gonna work, but like he couldn't tell her no because she was a strong, independent character that was gonna make her own choices.
Yeah.
That I liked that it didn't feel like one person was dictating the storyline and like making the right and wrong like choices. That everybody
Yeah.
kind of had their own lane to kind of work with.
Yeah, and free will, and there were realistic consequences, right? Like if you're
Yeah.
going to run into like she knew she was getting into a very dangerous situation, and like it was, and they figured out what she was trying to do, and they're like, listen, how do you know so much about like us losing money? And then they brought her, and they almost killed her,
Yeah. Did you guys like the twist? Did you like the twist that Rufus Buck was half brothers with Nat Love?
I thought it was unneeded, in my opinion.
Yeah,
That was just
agreed.
like I thought.
I thought it was good.
I thought it was like
It
I'm
was
like-
good.
yeah, it wasn't bad. I'm not saying that it's like a bad twist and that it took away from the movie.
Yeah.
I just think I feel like this movie didn't need that kind of hook,
Yep.
And like if you just delivered more on Rufus as like this, like he had some other tie to like Nat Love's dad,
Yeah.
then I'd be more interested. I don't know. I just was like, I remember like him explaining it in like that last confrontation, and I was very like, what? Like,
Well-
because I also feel like Idris Elba and the guy that he killed are not like that far apart in age, like the fact that he's his dad and then the other guy.
Well,
that
we
also
never see
wasn't-
Idris Elba in that opening
Yeah,
scene.
you
so
don't.
we don't
They
know.
don't
He could
show
be like
you
a
not.
He
teenager.
could have looked like a
No.
teenager. Nope. They do
That's
not
true.
show.
That's true.
Yeah. You know it's him just because we know he's.
I thought
in
they
the
did
movie
show
and,
his
like-
face because I remember being like, "Oh, that's Idris Elba." I'm pretty sure
They
they
show
did,
like his
'cause they zoomed
outline.
him,
It's not-
like holding the guns, right? Like he's.
I'm pretty sure they show like
I'm
his
checking
outline,
now,
his
but
frame,
I don't think
but
they
I remember
explicitly
being
show.
like, oh, they never show his like face.
Yeah, but his dad is also pretty young to have like an adult. I don't know. Maybe
I
that's
don't know, I
just
thought
maybe.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's a little weird, but I also
God,
think
back
that
then they were
there's
having kids like whenever they were ready, though. Too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So,
true.
like-
True.
But no, I do get what you mean by it was almost unneeded because like in the beginning I was interested. I was like, why was he so vengeful and like want to kill these two people. By the middle of it even, I was just like, oh, he's just a ruthless killer. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it was money motivated. Maybe he was just pissed. Like, I didn't really care at that point. I just knew he was a bad guy, willing to do, like, horrible things. And I feel like that almost would have been enough. Because at one point I was like, I wonder how they're going to, like, make a twist for this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's like a Western. They don't need a twist. They could just be like, good guy prevails, bad guy loses.
Yeah.
And then they did do the twist. And I was like, oh, I liked it because it felt like genres kind of missing, like thriller with Western. I don't know exactly, but
I also liked it too because it gave Nat like a little bit, like it made him question what he was doing a little bit, and it kind of added to his character. So like that's kind of why I liked it, because it wasn't like, oh, I got him, now I can just shoot him in the head and it's over. It's like, fuck, like now I have to make a decision, because like family's always been my main driver, and now I have a brother and he's the one that I've been trying to kill. So like it added a little bit to it. I thought it was pretty good. I did confirm they do show Idris Elba with his head like this, and you can only really see like his mouth like this. So
yeah, but like
you barely
also,
see it.
Yeah, but he also doesn't look that old. You know what I mean? Like
he looks pretty old.
I don't know. Like he looks old enough to have like a kid. He doesn't look like he looks. I don't know. I thought it was a weird. Like I was like, this is kind of a stretch, and like, because like Idris. I don't know. I mean, I guess Idris Elba and what's the guy? I'm losing the guy's name again. Jonathan Majors. Their characters, like their actual ages, are like could be that. Like could have that differential, but like I don't know. I was just like, I felt like it was unneeded, and I didn't think it was. Again, I didn't think it was bad. I just thought it was like a story element that I didn't need, and like I would have been more satisfied with the ending if Idris Elba was just like your dad felt like, if it was just, it drove home that Idris Elba was like a bad guy, you know?
Yeah.
So that's all I was looking for.
I think my final question to you guys: do you think this really needed to have a cliffhanger and set up a sequel? Like, do you think this movie needs a sequel? Because I felt like that was kind of lame, and I feel like it doesn't necessarily need an exact sequel to the story. Maybe something else set in this universe, but like I don't know. Do you think?
So, I have one little. I want to talk about that fight first, the Trudy Mary fight, because that builds into the cliffhanger. I went into it and I was like, okay, Trudy is badass, mean, scary, everything you want to see in an antagonist for a Western film. Mary kind of was. She was a much softer actress in the sense of like she doesn't have that like mean kind of like spirit,
I don't know if I
like,
would
behind
say
her.
soft. I don't think I'd say
soft. That might be the wrong word, but she comes off more like of a diplomatic type
like
of
she has
person.
the charm to her kind of thing.
Yes.
Like like she's a more like, it's not just like intimidation factor.
Not just brute force and fear.
Exactly.
Like she's gonna she's gonna lead with
She's
respect,
gonna
not
finesse
lead with
it.
fear. Yeah. And the whole fight, I was expecting her to like obviously hold her own, but get beat up a lot. And I was kind of hoping at the end, because I was like, it's kind of unrealistic. I really expect Trudy just to like rip her apart. And I was kind of hoping at the end they would kind of show Mary finishing off Trudy, because we see her like get the final punch and Trudy's down, but we never see Trudy die.
Right.
And
I don't know
in a
why
Western like
shoot her
this,
in the
why
head.
wouldn't you shoot her? You
Yeah.
know, if like she wakes up and never comes back, like she's gonna try to kill you. Like it's not like this isn't self-defense. This is straight up the Wild West. That
and you also
it
tried to
felt
kill her
weird.
Like
right.
You tried to kill her. Yeah.
And she won the fist fight, so she won. Like they did their little honorable thing where they fight without guns. So she won. So now finish the job, or at least just finish the job with the gun. Like
put her in handcuffs
beat
and call
her
the
until
marshal.
she's
The marshal's
not breathing. Yeah.
No,
the
but that's
marshal's
the whole
10
thing.
feet away too.
That's
like,
also that goes in Kevin's point. Like that's how they like secure the sequel, is Trudy still around, you know?
Right. So, and I feel like it, like this story, like feels like a one done. I guess you could keep following Nat Love's gang, but I feel like what are they gonna do? Like fight Trudy? Like I feel like they could.
I mean, half the characters.
well,
yeah.
Did they confirm that there's going to be a sequel.
No,
'Cause
they didn't confirm
I know the
it, but they
cliffhanger is
just left
very
it
much
open.
like, oh, she's going to start hunting them. And it's possible I do think there is story potential there, I should say. But I also could just see them ending it with that and just being like, mystery. Like, well, you don't know what happens. Who
Right.
knows? Like, it's almost not important enough to tell the story, but it's important to know that there's more story to tell.
Agreed.
If that makes sense. That was just...
That makes sense.
I wouldn't be mad if there was a sequel. I don't think they necessarily will make one, but they're leaving themselves open to it, and I think there is enough to do a sequel.
Agreed. All right, Kevin, you want to play some games?
Yeah, let's play our game. Let's start with James as far as Metascore. James, what do you think the Metascore?
I want to point out, you guys never start with me on this one.
All right,
I think
fine,
I'm always
Joe,
second.
fine. You know what? If you're going to sit there and whine and cry like a little baby, I'll let you go first.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
I'm
think,
gonna say
Joe?
61.
77.
Nice guess, James. 61 and 77. Are those both your guesses locked in?
I was going to say 76. I don't know why I said 77.
I
77.
feel like...
Double sevens.
So I think it's better than a 61, but I think Metacritic is like, especially on streaming originals, is harder on
True,
streaming
they're
originals
harsh.
than it is.
You're right.
Yeah.
74.
God, Joe, you what? You get like 4 guesses. You do this every time. You pick one number, then you hear someone else's, and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna change my number now because I."
No, James made a valid
This is why
point
you don't.
that
This is why you shouldn't go
Metacritic-
first.
James made
It's
a valid
true.
point
That's a very
that
valid thing.
Metacritic is always lower than it should be, and not necessarily. American Pickle was way too high, but
Yeah, it's like it's always a little off, but I would say that like movies that don't go to theaters, it is definitely harder on than movies that went to theaters.
Do you want to know the
Yeah.
actual score?
tell us.
68.
Woo!
I was
Yeah.
gonna
So
say
Joey
that.
won because
Yeah.
he changed
Split
it.
the middle. Yeah. Joey wins because he adjusted his answer after the fact.
Yeah.
That was good. I think
Strategy.
that's one of the meta scores where I'm like, okay, I get that.
No, I 100% get that.
I think
it's-
it could
still
probably
think it's
go a little
low.
higher. I think it's a
Yeah.
little low.
It should be at
but
least. I think it should
I'm
be
not
low
like
70s.
blown away by
Yeah.
that score. Where it's
I think
like,
it should be above 70. I definitely think it should be
Yeah.
above 70.
It's a good cast, good writing, good.
Mhm.
The only thing that it's lacking is kind of more depth to the story.
Yeah.
But I think
And
they,
I
even
feel
for a
like-
western, they did a good amount there.
Yeah. And I think they finished a little weird. Like they like the end, like the last, like
Yeah,
how
it
they
was kinda
capped
rushed.
everything was like it was a little weird.
They're
But like
we gotta
everything
go.
up, yeah, everything up to that point, fantastic. It was, and it wasn't bad. It was just the very end was just like I feel like there was like a little bit of a misstep, you know. And like,
Yep.
you know,
I think there was
overall really
also good character conflict in my last comment
yeah.
that like they forced the whole thing was that Nat Love robs people who rob banks, and they
Mhm.
forced him to rob a bank so that
Yeah.
he could save the woman he loves. And
Agreed.
I thought they did it in a very great way. Like I thought this was a great movie, and
Yeah.
should be definitely in the 70s at least.
Double
I'm gonna write
down.
a strong letter to Metacritic.
I don't think there's going to be any surprises here. James, are you doubling down?
Oh yeah, click play.
Joe?
Same, double down, click play.
Me too. I think that was an easy one for us to all
Mhm.
click play on. I don't think any of us were on the fence really from the start, which is good. That's a good thing. So go watch this movie. Go enjoy our second Idris Elba cowboy movie. Hopefully there's a third in the future. But yeah, James, you want anything else? Any more qualms that are waiting out there for you guys?
Nope. Happy with this movie. Definitely go see it.
Bring
Hit
us
it with
out,
the
boys.
socials. Well, thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. If you aren't subscribed already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to grow our base on there. Leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of the movie, and let us know what you want us to watch. We still have, we still have a few episodes to record for season 2, and we're looking for some fan content or some fan suggested content. I don't know why.
Fan suggestive content.
Suggested. Suggested.
Oh.
Send us your artwork.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Kevin. Please follow us on Instagram at @Flicks_Fellows. We're very active on the social media account, and it's the best way to get in touch with us. Finally, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please feel free to leave us a review. It helps us out a lot on those platforms. And also, if you're listening to us on those platforms, feel free to share. We are trying to get more listenership on podcasting platforms. So we really appreciate you guys listening to the end, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.